Hey, you look like that guy, Dr. Lipton.
Well, I was this morning. I think I still am.
You are? You're Bruce Lipton.
Yeah.
Listen.
What?
I didn't want to take up too much of your time. I have something I want to give you. These sunglasses.
Sunglasses?
I think what you need to do is put them on. You'll see the world very, very differently. You gotta look at things differently, Bruce. You gotta look at things differently.
Thank you.
All right.
Today, the health crisis on this planet is getting worse every day. We keep looking at the fact that maybe some pharmaceutical agent, some drug is going to fix us. But really the issues come down, are we living in harmony with the planet? Are we living in harmony with our food? And I say this because think about how many people are stressed out every day about what food they should eat and how much of this they should eat and where they should get their food. And we're so stressed out about all this that we've actually lost the value of what the food was for in the first place. And the idea is this: food is to create joy and happiness. Just think about it, how people feel after a wonderful meal, where they all sit back and they feel satisfied with life. Yes, food has a lot to contribute to our satisfaction, but we have to also now look at carefully at what foods are we eating, what foods are we being sold by the corporate entities. Why? Is it in their profit motive for us to get healthy? No. And that's why if we understand the food that we're eating may not support us, then it becomes so important to understand why we eat, how much we eat, where do we get our food. This becomes the important part of understanding that food is more than just for surviving. Food is for fun. Science has recognized that a human lifespan should be about 150 years minimum. 150 years, people reaching 100, this is a big glorious event, and we think that's it. We're missing 50 years extra of life. And I want to tell you, as I'm approaching 80 in a couple of months here, 150 sounds like a good time for me, because I'd be in midlife crisis at this moment. However, what's the issue here? How come we are scientifically understood to live to over 150 and we have trouble getting to 100? Where's the problem? Well, there are two main problems that are impacting our life at this time. One is stress, which we talk about quite frequently in this network, but the other one is food. So in order to help us survive and eat the food that will enhance our vitality, we started to find there were diets that would give us restricted types of food that were supposed to be healthier for us. There are two different extremes. You can go from veganism, which is all plant food, to carnivores, which is all meat food. Now the point about that is each of these different diets are supported by people who believe that these diets are the best for them. And then, of course, there's a whole bunch of diets in between, paleo and keto and other kinds of diets like that. There's not one common diet that if we all ate that, we'd all be the same. Every human is different, and how they live and how they grew up and their life experiences change what their dietary needs may be. So originally, the people that were here, hunter-gatherers, gathered just enough food to survive and actually thrive in their world. But once agriculture started to increase its technology and the food started to become more available, then all of a sudden the meals also started to become bigger. So instead of small initial meals, because food was hard to come by, now there's so much food, we have extra large portions. These extra large portions are not for our benefit, and especially when you recognize that most of the extra large portions are coming from corporate foods, which don't even have the nutrition in them in the first place. So Are we doing better by eating supersized, extra portion meals in this world? No, it's actually taking away from our health and our vitality. One of the biggest things that we haven't understood is the nature of sugar. Sugar is a drug. For those that have heard about cocaine, cocaine is like sugar in another sense. Oh, you take a certain amount of cocaine and you say, I feel great, I love this, I feel wonderful, and then boop, the cocaine goes down, it's metabolized, and what do you think is next? I need some more cocaine. That's called addiction. Sugar does the same thing. It gives you all the energy, the high, it feels really great, but then it goes down real quick and it says, I need more sugar. What is the dietary benefit of sugar? Well, it can give you energy. It doesn't give you any nutrition, but the point about it is this. We make our own energy. We don't have to take it in. By taking it in, we're putting in more energy than is actually necessary for the human to consume. Well, the energy gets stored as fat. Well, you know what? The companies that manufacture food understand the nature of the sugar. They put the sugar into everything. Everything's got sugar into it. Why? Because that sweetness that you get is what is driving you to eat more. It's the drive of the drug that makes you do this. And in fact, there are actually two kinds of sweeteners because sugar turned out to be a very expensive process in the long run. They found that there's a sweetener that they can get with much less cost, and it's called high fructose corn syrup. Interesting. Oh, it's sweet just like sugar. Yeah, but guess what? It's even more toxic than sugar. And it turns out in laboratory studies where they fed rodents regular sugar, or the control group, the other group was getting high fructose corn syrup, they fed them the sugars, and guess what they found? That the high fructose interfered with intelligence and very severely affected memory. And science has revealed to us a very important fact. The more sugar we eat over time, the more we are now creating problems in our health, such as diabetes. And that's a whole sugar-related consequence, and the population is suffering from this right now. What? Too much sugar in the diet throws the balance and harmony of our system off kilter. But that's not the only toxic thing that goes into food these days. There are seed oils. Cottonseed oil, grapeseed oil, rapeseed oil. The failure of these oils is that they're hydrogenated fats, which are completely unhealthy for a human diet. Yet, hey, it's cheap. Manufacturers aren't there to make you healthy. They're there to fill up your stomach. Another misperception supported by the corporations is that fats are bad for us and we should restrict our fats. Well, there are good fats. The animal fats are wonderful, and there are even vegetable fats that are good, such as avocado and olive oil. But they want to replace the fats with what are called seed oils. Well, seed oils are not equivalent in any way to the fats, let's say, from animal fat like butter and cream fat. Seed oils actually are in a large sense toxic. When they spray the plant with toxic chemicals, a lot of those chemicals get taken up by the seeds and are stored in the seeds. So when you make oil from these vegetables, vegetable oils, oh, that sounds healthy, vegetable oils. Well, the vegetables didn't create the oil came from the seeds. And the seeds actually pick up the chemistry that farmers spray on the plants to control the pesticides and the weeds. So that seeds are a receptor of toxic chemistry, and then they use those seeds to make oil. Are these seed oils beneficial? Well, not to human biology, but to the final economic bottom line of corporations, they are indeed profitable. We talked about the toxic effects of too much sugar and high fructose corn syrup. We talked about the toxic effect of seed oils. And yet there was something even more toxic put in it, and this is in the processed foods, and especially related to GMO foods. GMO means genetically modified organisms. Listen, the profit for the company is how much food you can get per acreage of land. The farmer's yield was totally influenced by the amount of weeds and the number of pests in the field that were eating the plants. So when GMO organisms were introduced and the plants were designed to live in an environment where you could spray a toxic element like Roundup, which will kill all the weeds and therefore increase the productivity from the same amount of land. But the negative side of all this is that the toxic glyphosates are actually picked up by the plants and put into the seeds. So anything that we get from processed foods using GMO is going to carry a very large quantity of toxic glyphosates in them. In addition to the problems associated with GMO foods, look at the ingredients list on the food that you're eating. Look at the chemistry that's in there. Most of it you can't even pronounce. The relevance of all that chemistry, is that good for you? No, that's all there for preserving the food and keeping it long life on it. But there's no preservation of nutrients. There's no preservation of the quality elements we need from the food. So what are we eating? We're eating food with no nutrition and lots of toxic and chemical products that don't add to our life experience. Most of us have been educated with the fact there's something called the food pyramid. The food pyramid presumably are the nutritious elements necessary for us to have a healthy biology. Unfortunately, this is a misunderstanding because it actually represents corporate interests selling their products, and it is not based on health and nutrition. And so basically, in fact, when they were putting the food pyramid scheme together, there was competition of who was investing the most to get the best floor on the pyramid. The bottom floor of the pyramid is all based on wheat and grains that go along with it. Look what they push. We have bread, we have pasta, we have baked potatoes. Most of the food on this lower floor of the food pyramid is actually derived from GMO wheat, which is contaminated with glyphosates. This is very toxic material that will kill our cells. The problem with industrial food is that it's filling us with solid stuff with no nutrition in it. And the significance of that is if we actually ate nutritious food, we would automatically be eating less food because the system will absorb the elements necessary to create a healthy body. Well, now that we're understanding the elements of toxicity in our food, what happens when we do put toxic stuff in our body? Well, let's clear up something that has been misunderstood for generations and generations. There's the belief that the digestive tract is like a screen, that whatever you put into your mouth and it goes down the digestive tract, the elements of what you just ate are going to go through the screen and into your body. So that the idea is whatever you eat is actually in your body. Well, this is a completely false assumption. And the significance is this: the digestive tract is a closed pipe. No matter what you put in your mouth, if it goes all the way down the digestive tract and comes out the other end, guess what? It was never in your body. It was inside the pipe, which was inside your body. So the digestive tract is open to the environment at the mouth side and open to the environment at the anus side. It's a pipe. When you put stuff into the pipe, then how do you get out what you need? The nutrition, the energy materials, how do you get them out of a solid pipe? Well, here's the answer. Along the pipe, there are proteins called transporters. And these transporters look at what's going down the pipe and pull out what is necessary to support the growth and maintenance of the body. So there are transporters that will take out the amino acids. There are transporters that take out the glucose, the transporters that will help get the fats out that you need for your body. Whatever you put into your mouth is not into your body. Well, that brings in another problem. Consciousness is controlling what's coming through our digestive tract. The conscious mind actually is one part of a duality, the other being the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is the one connected to your spirituality, your source, your personal identity. The conscious mind is the creative mind, the wishes and desires. I want to be healthy, I want to be thin, I want to be able to have muscles. This is what I want. This is my wish and desire from my conscious creative mind. That's a wonderful idea. And I wish that was actually controlling your life, but the fact is, the conscious mind is only controlling about 5% of your life activities. What's controlling the 95%? The programs in the subconscious mind. Well, the programs are the habits we acquire during our development and growing up. And these habits then give us the concept of what our body is supposed to be like. So let's go back to the idea that the pipe, called the digestive tract, has special transporters. That these transporters are activated by the needs of the 95% operating subconscious program that says this is what we're making with our body. We all have heard and experienced the nature of people taking strychnine poison. Strychnine poison is totally toxic poison. So when you eat strychnine poison, it's in your body. No, when you eat strychnine poison, it's in the pipe. It's not in your body. Well, there are people who have been programmed to recognize that they can protect themselves from the strychnine poison. And this happens especially in the South in the United States, where religious people work themselves up to a state of ecstatic nature, and they want to show people, they want to demonstrate how God protects them. So they do things no normal person in their right mind would ever do. Some of these people actually drink strychnine poison to testify that God protects them. And guess what? They don't get sick from the poison. How can that be? And the answer is, remember, it's the subconscious that determines what's going to be released from the digestive tract. And in these people's minds, their vision of God protecting them is a vision that no strychnine is coming into their body. God's going to take care of it. Well, whether it's God or just the consciousness of it, guess what? The strychnine is not absorbed into the body. So they ate the strychnine, it went through the pipe and came out the other side. But other people could take the strychnine, bring it into the body without any conscious awareness of its influence, and in that process die. Well, that's what happens if you eat toxic food. But does that mean if I eat really good, healthy food that I'll always be healthy? Well, my dear friend, Anita Morjani, whose wonderful book, Dying to Be Me, reveals her story of having cancer for 4 years and then having a death experience, an out-of-body death experience, and then coming back into life. Anita was living in fear of having cancer because her dear friend had cancer and died. And this really set off Anita to, I don't want cancer, I don't want cancer. Well, she ate the best food possible. She ate the healthiest of any kind of food, organic, natural food. She did her best to eat only healthy food. And what happened? She got cancer. And well, how'd she get the cancer? Well, there's no gene that causes cancer. Cancer is living out of harmony with life. Now, out of harmony with life is not the food she was eating, it was the consciousness she was manifesting. Her vision was on the cancer, and of focusing, I don't want the cancer. What was the picture in her mind of her body? A body with cancer. That was not her intention, that was her experience that she didn't want, but that was the image, and guess what the body did? All that wonderful food she ate went right through the system. It took out anything and everything necessary to do what? Create the cancer that was the picture in her mind. So, conclusion is simple. With the right mind concept, you could eat toxic food and survive. With the incorrect mind concept, you could eat the healthiest food and get sick. Was it the food that determined this? And the answer, no. It was the vision and the programming of the subconscious mind that controlled this behavior. 95% of our life is actually coming from programs derived in the subconscious mind. Significance of that is actually you could be very conscious, and you were truly conscious, you could eat anything you wanted at all. But the issue is we're not coming from the conscious mind, we're coming from the program. So whether you are highly conscious or not highly conscious, it's the same idea, is to eat the best quality food that you can add to your biology at all times. So look at what we've understood here, that food is really valuable for us to take in for nutrition and for energy resources to keep us alive. Look at what's happening in the world today. We're burning down the rainforest for food. Not food for us, but actually food for the animals that we will ultimately eat. And the relevance about all that is none of the food that we're growing through corporate development is actually good for either us or those animals. And it's time for us to make a change. Today we're so stressed by the food that we eat and how much food and what we're looking at. We got carried away by the stressors of this, and stress is actually causing the bigger problems in our health issues. It's not the food, it really comes down to the stress. With the caveat of understanding that too much food is actually not good for us, and so we really have to back off. But food is more than just for nutrition and for energy. Food, as people have said over generations, food is medicine. When you're eating food that makes you happy and fulfills your life, that happiness is what's going to manifest a body that is also happy and healthy at the same time. It's time for us to come back to our basic roots and start recognizing that if you really want to thrive, not just survive, you want to have quality food, organic food, biodynamic food, natural food. This is what we were created with, and this is what will sustain us and actually help us thrive into the future. Eating with consciousness actually changes the whole reason for eating. That eating is, yes, necessary for our survival, but necessary for our psychological life experiences as well. Food is more than just nutrition. Food is medicine. So there's food for living, there's food for medicine, and there's food to enjoy. Have fun.